Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Umbrella Academy, Season 1, Episode 2. It's called Run Boy Run. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. So, the name of the episode actually is the same name as the song that plays early on in the episode, which actually got me really excited because I'm a big fan of that song. It's rare these days that I know a song before a TV show or a movie plays it because I'm not really in the loop when it comes to music. But I'm familiar with this one. As soon as that gong hit at the start of the dinner table scene, I was like, oh, that sounds like the gong from that song. And then it played again. I was like, oh, it is that song. And then it was run.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that's 2 episodes in a row. There's been two fine music choices so far, one per episode.
I would argue there's at least 2 fine music choices in this.
Oh yeah, you got Queen at the end, but I mean, Queen's an easy one.
It is an easy one, but it still counts as a fine music choice. Don't diminish it like that.
Whereas Woo Kid Run Boy Run, surprising. I'm not surprised by Queen.
Well, no. But still got a great choice.
Sure. So, yeah. So this episode's a bit slower than the first one for sure, which is to be expected. Things usually slow down after episode 1. As we get things in place and all the different plots actually start to move forward. And the characters are mostly separate, although typically like 2 of them will be together at various times in the episode.
Yeah.
Perhaps the most important plot is still number 5 and what he's up to, because he's trying to save the world essentially, even though no one else really seems to believe him.
Yeah.
And it's him telling his story where we see this flashback to the future at the start of the episode.
We haven't gotten to say that since Travelers.
I know, because it starts off as a flashback and then he goes into the future and it's like, oh, okay. And we see, because it comes back to us at the end of the episode where like he sees most of the family lying there dead. Notably not Vanya, but the rest of the siblings are there dead. And the eyeball that's important in this episode has been held by Luther. So those are the key elements. It's a prosthetic eyeball, of course, because he goes to try and find out who the owner is, because there's a serial code in the back.
Yes, but it hasn't even been made yet.
Yes. Yeah, so what's more interesting to me, though, is that there's a pair of other assassins coming after him. Well, I'm calling them assassins. Well, not they're actually there to kill him. I mean, they're shooting at him, so I assume
they act like assassins. Pretty safe assumption.
But they're there, and there's several implications from them, and then something else, because we get a detective character, and we'll talk about her in a minute, but we find out that his fingerprints match an unsolved case from 1938. And then, given what these 2 assassins say, it certainly implies that not only has number 5 been back into the past as well when he grew old, because the photo they've got of him is an old man.
It's an old man, yeah.
Not only that, the fact that we've got this cold case from 38, it actually implies that these assassins themselves are travelling through time. There's a line about travelling through time's tricky, especially. He's not even doing it with a briefcase.
Yeah, yeah, and we see them carrying a briefcase, complain about it, wishes it was a backpack. I get it.
My headphones have done a really annoying thing.
What have they done?
I'm getting sound out of one side.
Oh no. They're not going, are they?
Oh, they might be. Oh, twisting, it's not even working.
Oh no.
Oh. Okay, crisis averted. We can move on. For now. I may have to buy new headphones soon, though. So, where were we? Yeah, so number 5 is trying to save the world, and he's looking for this eye. But these time traveler assassins that are coming after him, which is actually answer some of my questions, because my last episode I was like, well, he's got this tracker on him, he couldn't have got that in the future. Clearly he's been in the past as well. He spent some time in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we learn pretty clearly here that we can't necessarily trust what he says. When he said, "Oh, there was no one in the future," he may have been lying.
I mean,
because he's being very cagey with the truth with the rest of them, and so maybe that is technically true. There was no one in the future, but he's withheld the rest of the information, right?
Oh, sure, yeah, but I mean, for everything we've seen in the future, there is no one else, right? He sees dead bodies, but there's not been anyone else in the future.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's encountered other people many a time in different time periods.
Yes, so because it's maybe not that he lies, but just withholds a lot of things.
Because the way I was reading this is that he ended up in the past because he tried to go back to his own time and overshot it. Because as he says, is that time travel is really tricky.
Yes.
And like the villain said, he doesn't have the briefcase, which I assume is a time travel device.
Yeah, I assume there's something in it that, helps you lock on to a specific time.
Yeah. Or even just let them travel at all. Like well, there's no indication as of yet, at least so far, that either of these two are meta
That's true.
abilities.
Obviously, we know he can do it on his own.
Yeah.
So for him, maybe it would just help. But for them,
Yeah.
maybe that's the entire thing.
Yeah, that's what my thinking is right now. Because they torture the guy from the diner and kill him.
Because they think at first that he is number 5, because they get the picture of the older fella that
Yeah.
looks similar enough to this guy.
Yeah. Still no explanation as to why he's a kid again in present day, especially since he seems to have grown old, in
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, other time periods.
Yeah. So when he says, "Oh no, he lived 45 odd years," clearly he did.
Yeah. So that's going on, and the interesting thing is that Ellen Page, Vanya, at one point says, Dad used to always say that time travel would mess with your mind, and we see that in the flashback at the start that he says that. There's no indication to us, for the most part, up until the ending, that there is anything wrong with his mind, right? He seems a very sort of confident person in terms of what he's speaking about, right?
He seems stable. Yeah.
And at one point he tells Klaus that he did have someone. He was with someone for 30 years. And I was like, okay, yeah, if he lived a long time, that makes sense, all right, I won't question it. But at the end of the episode, because he goes to this department store that he was looking for, and he starts talking to a mannequin as if that was his wife. And this is where I'm like...
Yeah, and worth noting, okay, so 30 years with this Dolores, right?
Dolores, yes.
Which I only remember because of Westworld, to be honest. It's the only way I remember that name. So, 30, I mean, he was still on his own for 15 years first.
This is true. Because now my question is, clearly he is... I know there's something here that we just don't understand as of yet, but it seems like he does have something...
He seems genuinely attached, doesn't he?
Yes. So one of two things here. Either there was never a Dolores, and it was always the mannequin, or there was a real person, and he has since went nuts and associates this mannequin with Dolores.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which.
Either's a possibility right now. Both 50-50.
Yes.
John,
yep.
While we're just talking about this in general, this actor's doing a great job, this kid.
Oh yeah.
Because I believe that he's 60 odd.
Yeah, he's doing his best with that. Yeah. I actually I think he's really good, and I think his scenes tend to be the most exciting so far, because obviously the last episode we get into the action scene. This episode again, there's not a lot of action until the final scene, which again it's him. It's the two time travelers show up. Yeah. And they commit the thing with shotguns. The Queen starts playing, and it becomes this teleporting around the department store. And clearly, there's some rules here where you can't just teleport to 5 streets away, because he would just do that if he could. Obviously, right? He has to I assume see where he's going. Or
it seems that way, because he even climbs over the shelf at one point.
Mm.
So I would assume he has to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's establishing some rules, which is cool. It's a really fun sequence. It's a nice game of cat and mouse. And at the end, they think he's teleported out, but he's actually just hiding because his power stops working in the middle of the scene. And we saw that happen in the future as well. When he first gets there, he tries to come back immediately. Well, as soon as he realizes, oh shit, everything has went to hell, he tries to come back.
And he can't.
Yeah. So his powers do tap out every so often. I don't know if this is just an energy thing. Is it tied to his mental state, if he is it not being able to get it up, he cuts out. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's more common in older men.
He's in a young body though.
It's true.
It's why actually, because he takes Klaus to the guy at the prosthetic limb, or not even limbs. Is that under prosthetic limbs? A fake eye?
I wouldn't have thought so, but I mean maybe.
Yeah, the clinic where they do such a thing.
Yeah.
And obviously at first he isn't he's like, no, we can't give out that information. So he brings back Klaus pretending to be his father, and Klaus is funny here. He's like, oh, what's my backstory? When did I meet your mother? All that kind of stuff. I don't think I laugh more in this episode than when Klaus just turns around and smacks Five in the face. And Five looks like he's going to kill him for it. That's the great thing about it. It's not just like he's hit a kid and it's awkward. No, he's hit this kid, and this kid's going to murder him until he realizes what he's doing. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, because Klaus like, I'll tell everyone you hit him. And the guy's like, there's not even a mark on him. Smack. Now there is.
And then he smashes a snow globe on his own head.
Yeah.
Which I think my favourite part of that, just a little detail in how they handled the effects or the makeup here, is how the blood kind of mixed in with the water from the snow globe running down his
Yeah,
head. So it looked kind of faint, and it looked right. It looked like it
it
didn't
looked
look
good.
perfect. It looked sufficiently kind of awkward,
Yeah,
and that's what I liked about it.
and I did like it. I enjoyed Klaus just being deranged and off the hook, having fun with it.
Yes. I you know, it's funny. Someone tweeted that is that they were watching episode. Well, I don't know what episode it was, but they were watching Umbrella Academy, and they were blaming us for sitting thinking, "Oh, I really like this aspect ratio." And we never really spoke about the aspect ratio. I think because it is the Netflix typical aspect ratio.
It's what I expect from Netflix now,
Yes.
more often than not, and I feel like we know if it's something else now.
Yes. So you know, it's just Netflix's star thing. That said, it does remind me that I forgot to talk about the aspect ratio in Doom Patrol. This is not really the place for it, but the reason why I want to talk about it, not only because it's wider than this is, right, which is wider than what Titans was. I want to note it because it's not actually 235:1. It's slightly less wide than 235:1.
Oh, really?
It's about 220, 225. It's just not quite as wide.
That's particularly nerdy because at a glance I just went, yeah, it's probably too.
No, I assumed it was at first. It wasn't. It was after a couple of scenes where I went, wait a minute. Those black bars aren't quite as thick as normal, but they're close.
Close. Yeah, they were close enough that I just assumed
Yeah.
it was about right.
So I'm probably not exactly right. I'm just sort of ballparking it just based because you know there's like several standard sizes that you're used to seeing, and you say
Yeah.
that's that, and that's that. I'm just kind of going in between of the things, but
Because Titans was just at the Netflix ratio, right?
yeah, that was about 2 to 1. Yeah, 2-0
Yeah.
to 1.
Yeah, I thought so.
But yeah, I thought I'd mention it.
This is as good a place as any.
I mean, I'll try and mention it in Doom Patrol itself next week and on the
It's
television
like
from
2
Multiverse
weeks
podcast.
till we talk about that.
I know, but I want to bring it up. So, but yeah, so on to some of the other characters because they all have their own kind of thing. I mean, Klaus was mostly just with number 5, but Klaus did also have a little bit where Pogo asks him for the thing he stole back because we see there's an important journal in there in one of the little flashbacks.
Yeah, he's a little indirect around it. He's like, look, he doesn't outright accuse him of taking it. He's just like, this has gone missing, and if it happened to find its way back, then you know, we wouldn't worry about following up on it. We'll just forget it happened.
Yeah. But the rest of the characters obviously all have their own thing. Vanya, you know, she tries to check where, because number 5 sneaks out of her place in the morning. She goes to try and find him, runs into Allison. Allison's having a sort of an emotional talk about her kid, with the ex-husband.
Yeah, it sounds like she's missed some sort of meeting, legal meeting maybe, or something. You know, that it meant that now she can't see the kid for a bit.
I took it as like they have arranged meetings like every week, but her missing one's like a really bad.
Okay.
Like, you know, she's meant to see the kid like once a week supervised or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I always quite as bad as a supervised, admittedly, but
Yeah, I'm with her though, where she's like, you know, it was my dad's funeral. Come on.
yeah, people would understand that. Yes,
Typically, that's a pretty good excuse.
yes, because they can check up in that. They can check up that someone died.
Yeah, you don't even. It was all over the TV.
That's true. She's a famous person. Her
Yeah,
dad
it was
famous.
pretty public.
Yeah. But yeah, so and they have a bit of a fight because we saw that Alison was quite nice to Ellen Page last episode, and it was fine. Like, you know, she was one who was accepting, said, "No, it's glad you're here," that kind of thing. But she kind of snaps at her here because she tries to offer some advice. And she's like, "No, you've not got a kid. You've even been in a relationship. I'm not listening to you." And she's kind of shitty to her, but she's clearly just lashing out because of the conversation she just had.
Yeah.
And Pogo kind of tried to cheer her up. Takes her to this old surveillance room, right? Because the dad used to record a bunch of stuff. And one of the things she sees on these old surveillance tapes is that. Also, I'm interested on the. I'm sure this exists actually, because I noticed this and I thought, no, I'm actually pretty sure this is a real thing. The old surveillance equipment would do is that you'd record multiple cameras on one tape so that they'd always run in sync.
Sync, yeah.
Yeah, when you play them back. Because at first I went, how's that in one tape? And I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure that's a thing, because tons of places before the digital age would have done this.
Yeah, the only other way I think is if for space, they wanted to keep it for archival and records just in case, that, oh, hang on, something we need to look back at that. If you essentially multi-track it,
Sure.
play it back and record it onto one tape after.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like that's the thing that exists, though. I feel
There
like
must be, yeah.
just in security for before the digital age, it makes sense that would be a thing.
Because you always see it as all the screens at
Yeah.
once. So there must be a way of doing it.
But anyway, so she's watching this thing, and like, she sees her and the other kids kind of doing stuff, practicing on the powers, but she notices Ellen Page over by herself, just playing the violin. She's on her own, and she's like, "Why was she never with us? Why was she always left out?"
We were kind of shitty, weren't we?
Yeah, that's kind of awful.
And Pogo's like, I mean, you were kids, and she's like, yeah, if someone treated my daughter like that, phew.
Yeah. So no. So she has this sympathy growing for her. And we know that Vanya doesn't really letting people in, and we kind of see that she has this guy comes over, who I think was this the drone pilot dude from Jack Ryan?
Shit, it might have been.
I think it was him.
Because I noticed the big guy, the assassin, was one of the he was one of the serial killers in Mindhunter, wasn't he?
Oh, was that him? I didn't even realise that was him.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're
that's...
talking about now, but yeah.
Yeah.
But no, so he comes over for a violin lesson, and she thinks she's a little bit like not weirded out, but just surprised because it's like, oh, most of my students are kids. Is it weird that I'm doing this? Nah, not really. Like some people are on an instrument when they're older, but it's more different.
It's funny because assuming this is the guy from Gerard, which I'm inclined to believe, I never put it together, but I feel a very similar way about his character. I come out with a very similar feeling of him just kind of being a bit awkward and off. And it works better in this show, don't be wrong, because a lot of people are a bit awkward and off.
Well, here he's not got this really convoluted plot. He's just here to kind of be like someone who might be a potential love interest for Vanya, and she obviously is weird about it and kind of like declines any kind of invitation.
Yeah.
By the end, but he's even going through similar things where he's lost his father, and that's why he's went to learn violin because his father liked violin and blah blah blah. I did laugh actually because when he first picks up the violin, he just like he
just goes for it.
He plays it far too harshly, and I've never played violin, but having learned to play guitar, the first bit of advice anyone will ever tell you: gentle, gentle.
Far more appropriate on a violin, let me tell you, because it's a lot easier to sound bad on a violin than a guitar.
Oh, absolutely is. Absolutely is. But the same as applies. If someone who doesn't know what they're doing just goes like, "Oh, I'm just going to strum this really hard," like it just, it'll sound terrible. You probably snap some strings while you're at it.
Probably.
So that's what she's got going on. So there's some character stuff just for her.
Yeah, it's all. This second episode it falls into a lot of the traps that we feel about a lot of second episodes. In that, the first episode's your big shiny set piece setup, and then we'll actually set up the plots for the individual characters now.
Yeah, we have to slow down. We have to do all this.
Yeah,
and some are better than others.
Like this one here with Vanya. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not particularly exciting at the minute.
Yeah. Obviously, the other thing with the tapes that comes from with Allison is that she believes Luther that something's happened.
So she obviously seen something.
Yeah, I was actually kind of annoyed that it didn't show what she saw on the tape at the end of the episode. It felt weird to me. I was fine when they cut away when she's like, "Oh my god," when she's looking at the TV screen. But I thought she was going to show Luther at the end of the episode, and that'd be the cliffhanger.
We didn't quite get to that though.
But we didn't get to that, so I thought that was a little bit weird. I mean, it's not too bad because we're going to watch the next episode in 2 days' time. It's fine, but it's just annoying. And she tells Luther at the end. Luther, of course, went to investigate Diego, who's living in the back of a boxing gym. Yep. And he basically discovers that he was fighting in a boxing match that night, so he couldn't have been there. And tries to apologise for even thinking that he would or investigating.
I liked because he kind of waits in Diego's room because he's living in this boxing gym, and he knows towards his rear. He just chucks the knife and it spins around like a few corners and just goes right past his ear. And he's like, "God damn it! What the hell are you playing at?"
In Diego, we get an introduction to Detective Patch, who's investigating the diner stuff, and then later on finds the body of the guy, the tow truck driver.
Yeah.
And we get that she seems to have used to be in a relationship with Diego, and also they were in the police academy together, but he dropped out and has obviously went down the vigilante path, and she's getting more and more frustrated at him,
playing the part,
doing what he's not supposed to, talking to witnesses. He even had a fake badge at the start, and obviously she confiscates that.
He's just like, fine, I'll just get another one on eBay.
Yeah, so it's Diego being a dick, but he gives us this other character, and it's a common thing to have in a superhero thing where you have the detective who they can go and speak to at some point, and have a liaison, as it were.
I mean, she's no good.
No.
She's fine though.
She's fine.
so far.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I need to mention, actually, just to go back to Klaus, is that number 6 is talking in this episode. The dead number 6.
Yeah, he seems to be acting kind of like his conscience.
Kind of, but given that he actually has this power to see someone who's dead, like, are we assuming here that this is really Ben talking to him?
Again, I'm 50-50 at the moment.
Right, okay.
I said at the end of last episode that I could go either way on this. They could play it on in either direction. Notably, in this scene, he's not high, because that was the point. He's trying to get. He's just waking up and trying to get high immediately, and Ben's there.
That goes into what I was saying, where he takes the drugs to get rid of it. Like he's trying to like avoid it.
Yeah. It could well be. But it's interesting. But when I say he's acting like conscious, I don't necessarily mean he's not really there. He might be there.
Yeah.
He's just in the traditional sense acting like that, like like you would if you had like an angel and a devil on your shoulder, sort of thing. That's kind of how he's playing it.
Yeah. Most interesting for me for this episode was definitely the time travelers and kind of the hinting that Five's been doing a lot of traveling.
There's a bigger universe out there.
Yeah, there's a bigger universe. Who are these time travelers? Because I think it was one thing, when the cop said, "Oh, the fingerprints match something from 1938," that was one thing. But when it implied that these assassins were also traveling through time looking for him, it was like, okay,
yeah, what's going on here? Yeah.
So I can't wait, because I'm going to make a leap here and assume that number 5 has been involved in some big moments in history, and that'll be revealed throughout the show. I'm going to assume that's going to be part of what they do here. Yeah,
that seems reasonable to assume.
I don't know how, but somehow he shot JFK.
It would explain a lot of things, wouldn't it?
It would. Where's the little shooter? He teleported away. Oh, dear.
Maybe it was Diego, because that's how the bullet curved.
Yes. So that's not happened yet. He'll take him back to the... I mean, as of yet, it doesn't seem like he... he did take the mannequin. He teleported with the mannequin, so presumably he maybe could teleport with a person, but maybe they'll give us a reason why he can't do it with a person.
Maybe, yeah. We haven't seen it yet, but maybe he can.
Maybe he can, yeah.
Maybe he's just never tried.
Man, he's in his 60s. You think someone with this power would try it? Maybe do it like grab a mouse or something first in case it makes the mouse explode.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
But yeah, so I think episode 2 was I enjoyed all the developments that were happening in it. I'm still happy to be around these characters, but it was definitely slower paced than the first one, and definitely suffered from some episode 2. We have to set up all these character beats, and some were enjoyable, some were just fine.
It definitely wasn't as egregious in that regards as many episode 2s that we've seen. I definitely did feel it in general though, but it still had some flashy action sequences in there. Characters are still mostly likable.
Yeah, no.
I'm still pretty happy with this, even though it's definitely the weaker of the 2 episodes.
Yeah, opening and closing were very, very good, and then the character drama is fine to good depending on who it is we're following at any given time. But definitely some episode 2-itis kind of in there. We often talk about pilot-itis, and we also have episode 2-itis. It's really episode 3 when there's no excuses now. You start just being good.
Yeah.
Not that this wasn't good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in a broad sense.
We can forgive certain problems in episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Specifics to what it is, but
yeah. But yeah, that's episode 2 of Umbrella Academy. So we'll be back the day after tomorrow with episode 3. So look forward to that. Let us know what you thought of episode 2 in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, you can head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. We can support us for as little as $1 per month. Get some bonus stuff, get some exclusive stuff, get some stuff early. So do that. If you listen on the audio feed, the Almost Cancelled Netflix Reviews audio feed, there is a Almost Cancelled TV Reviews audio feed for stuff from other places, such as Amazon and cable networks and that kind of thing. So have a look at that. But otherwise, that's it. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?